The Treasure Hunter event is now live, and I bet most of you are wondering where to go in order to find as many Treasure Hunter mole miners as possible. Well, I'm about to show you some of the best spawns for the event. Let's start! Hello everyone! Welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. So, a new community event just went live yesterday, and it will only last for a few days, sadly. I have spent the past 5-6 hours testing spawns, and I came up with a map featuring 10 locations in the Ash Heap, the very best in my experience so far. You can forget about mole miner spawns and events in this region, by the way. They don't really mean you will find what you are looking for. In the end, every location has a slight chance to spawn the treasure hunters. It's just most of them have a really small spawn rate. Therefore, why you will hardly find them in most locations. Anyway, let me introduce you to my farming map. Let's proceed. If you are not sure how this event works, here's a small intro for you. Treasure hunters are spawning in the Ash Heap region until May 27. Yep, Bethesda has just extended the event if you are wondering. By hunting them, you can get their treasure boxes, which contain dozens and dozens of rewards, including new and rare plants. Now, you must hunt them exclusively in the Ash Heap region for this event, so any other locations outside this region will not work. Also, according to several people, these new legendary creatures can spawn in every single marked location in the Ash Heap. It's just most of them have a really low spawn rate. By the way, I somewhat disagree with this popular farming map that has been shared over Reddit. I tested for 5-6 hours now, and my results are quite different. Now, it is true that you can find treasure hunters about anywhere in the region, but there are some spawns in which you can find them very often or most of the time. The following 10 spawns are the very best to treasure hunt as consistently as possible. These locations are mostly towns and big outposts. There seems to be a trend here. Also, fixed mole miner spawns don't always mean a high spawn rate for the treasure hunters. Just saying, you can either visit these locations one by one doing a full route or server jumping. The choice is yours. Keep in mind, these new mobs only run when they detect you. They never attack back and they will try to hide from you, so better kill them as soon as possible. Use the functional camera to find their bodies if you are having issues finding them after the fight is finished. Now let's go over each location so you know what to expect and learn how to quickly go over one by one. Let's do this! Alright everyone, let's start with the GARRAHAN estate. You need a keycard to get up the elevator to start with, but surprisingly this location spawns one treasure hunter quite often. I was really not expecting this location to be any decent when I started to check it out, but what a pleasant surprise, let me tell you that much. Out of 6 runs, I came across one spawn in 4 runs in this location. And the best part is that you can immediately tell if there is a spawn hunter or not. Once you load to the upper floor, you can hear the hunter's noise if he is spawn. Remember, the estate is a vertical place, very condensed, so if he is indeed spawn, all you have to do is run towards his sound. He can spawn basically anywhere though, even in locked rooms, so make sure to inspect the entire place until you find him. Next, we have the LEWISBURG town, a quite large location to check, but I am often finding one hunter here. Of course, every now and then I come out empty-handed, but I would say there is at least a 70% chance to find one hunter around the town per run. He often spawns in the middle of the ghouls or at the very edge of the town. I suggest you to make a full circle around the houses without killing the ghouls Then run in a straight line through the middle of the town. If no noise pops, then it means there is no spawn hunter. That's the quickest way to check the entire place without taking too long and while saving ammo as well. The PYLON ambush site is a great technology place for scavenging, don't you think? Maybe that's why the treasure hunter is spawning here every now and then. He spawns about 50% of the time, so this is obviously not a location at the top of the list. But still, it's a pretty decent one. The hunter usually spawns in front of the shack with the other ghouls. And make sure to kill him fast because he often runs away into the forest, and that can be bothersome, as you can imagine. The Mount Blair is a tricky location. It can be great at times, but most of the time it will be a waste of time. First, you need to go all the way up there to the platform to access the inside rooms, the platform in general, to check what's there. And secondly, there is no fast travel point unless you claim the workshop. But there is a problem if you claim the workshop. I have never found a hunter while owning the workshop there, and I have checked it 6 times in a row. The hunters only seem to spawn when the workshop is not claimed for some reason, unless I have been extremely unlucky. So Mount Blair is really not one of my favorite places to check, but if you are server jumping a lot, then it can work for sure. The next one is at the BRIM quarry, one of my favorite locations right now. I am finding one treasure hunter almost every single run. Amazing, no? I would say there is a 80% or 90% chance to find a hunter here. The easiest way to check this place is to run uphill in a line, ignoring the mole miners. Stop only if you hear the hunter noise. I mean, if you are going to kill every single enemy you see, you will take hours to farm for just a dozen of treasures and that's it. So best to do each run as quickly as you can. Anyway, make sure to kill the hunter immediately since there are about a dozen of other mole miners here and he can easily run away out of your sign during the fight. At the CAMDEN park, you can often find at least one treasure hunter as well. This place is huge, but that's alright. At least the spawn rate is quite high, I would say around 80 to 90%, and that's all what matters in here. In order to make a quick run, do a full circle sprinting while ignoring all the scorched. Again, when you hear the hunter's noise, run towards it until you spot a legendary creature. He can spawn basically anywhere in the park, but I normally find him at the very end, near the small office room or near the roller coaster. I have never found him near the entrance, for example, just to give you an idea what to expect when you try to farm this place. Moving west, you can also find a treasure hunter quite often at Beckley, a huge town with dozens of houses. What I generally do here is run in a straight line through the middle of the town. That way you can understand if there is any spawn hunter inside or around the buildings. They sometimes spawn there and they can even get stuck inside, so it's important to spot the noise first. Moreover, you should also check the workshop area. The hunter can sometimes spawn there as part of the workshop enemy wave. He can also run away inside the town, so make sure to take him down before that happens. You don't want to waste more time checking houses, do you? There is a small super mutant outpost south of Beckley and it can sometimes spawn a treasure hunter as well. The chance is about 50%, I would say, and make sure to check it out since the hunter is very easy to spot in here. He always spawns in the very middle of the camp and he will run around the buildings once he spots you. He can also run away, but normally he just stays around the buildings. You can often find other legendaries here. As you can see, this is a conflict location where super mutants often fight floaters. Just a small note for extra profit. Welch is by far the best spawn in game right now. You can find 1 or 2 treasure hunters about 90% of the time. In about 15 runs, I only remember one single run with no spawn hunters at all. I have had several runs where I found 2 at them at once, so that's great. Make sure to do a complete check here because the hunters can spawn anywhere really, inside the buildings, on the roofs, on the main paths, even close to the train station. So make sure you don't miss any of them. Every hunter counts here in this case. Remember, the event is only live for a few days, so make the most out of your time. Since this town is medium size, I would say, with a lot of destroyed buildings, so it can be a bit confusing when you don't know your way around it. Lastly, we have the BLAIR Trainyard, another great location with a lot of farming potential. One of my favorite ones as well. You can usually find 1 or even 2 hunters at once. I would say the spawn rate is around 80 to 90%. However, it can be a bit problematic to find them quickly every single time. There are lots of shacks and warehouses in this place, and as usual, the hunters can spawn anywhere. So make sure to do a full run as well. Don't forget to check the upper platforms if you hear the noise. If you are lucky, they will be on the main train yard, which is rather common. If not, well, there is still hope one of them will be on the secondary shacks. It's normally one scenario or the other. Anyway, best of luck to you! At the start of the video, I mentioned that events in this region are a waste of time, and well, I do believe they have a slight chance to spawn treasure hunters. It's just the chance is so small you will probably never find any. I did 12 events so far, and guess what? I haven't found a single treasure hunter so far. Even events that always spawn mole miners, such as Breach and Clear and Load Bearing, don't seem to increase your chances. It doesn't make much sense to me, since these events hold a lot of treasure. You know, ore is quite valuable in the wasteland, but hey, it is the way it is. So you can really forget about them if your goal is to farm as many treasure hunters as possible for the time being. Just a word of advice. These are my top 10 locations to farm treasure hunters for this event. I didn't have too much time to test everything properly or as I wanted, since the event was supposed to be live for only 5 days. Yes, I know it just got extended for 2 more days, but still, it wouldn't make sense to publish a guide in the last few days. I think so, at least. So I hope the details in this video will help you find more hunters. It surely has been helping me farming dozens of treasure pails. Anyhow, keep in mind that your findings may vary from mine. Don't forget the power of RNG. Also, hunters can spawn anywhere in the Ash Heap, so don't be surprised if you stumble across them randomly. Anyway, do let me know which locations are your favorites so far by leaving a comment below. Well, that's going to be everything for this guide. Thank you so much for watching and happy farming! Feel free to leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. I am Marta Branco and I will see you soon in the next video. Until then, take care, adios, bye bye!